Hello there. I'm Mayor Judy Paul, and thank you for participating in today's virtual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration. While COVID-19 has altered our approach to events, it is important that we take time to honor the life of a fighter for equality. King was the chief spokesman for nonviolent activism in the civil rights movement, which successfully protested racial discrimination in federal and state law. He also helped organize the 1963 March on Washington, where he delivered his famous "I Have a Dream" speech, one which inspired many to get involved in politics and enact change. The campaign for a federal holiday in King's honor began soon after his assassination in 1968. President Ronald Reagan signed the holiday into law in 1983, and it was first observed 3 years later. At first, some states resisted observing this holiday as such, giving it alternative names or combining it with other holidays. It was officially observed in all 50 states for the first time in the year 2000. Today, we do the same. Whereas the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 29, 1929, and was assassinated at age 39 on April 4, 1968. And whereas Dr. King preached equality through nonviolent change and was a leader of the civil rights movement in the United States of America. And whereas Dr. King was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964, and whereas Dr. King's actions were directly responsible for the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and whereas Martin Luther King Day will make a national holiday on the third Monday in January by act of Congress, signed by President Reagan in 1983, making this year's holiday Monday, January 18th, 2021. And whereas the Town of Davie recognizes Monday, January 18th, 2021 as Martin Luther King Jr. Day in loving memory of this great American, and will hold a virtual celebration for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Mayor and Town Council of the Town of Davie do hereby proclaim Monday, January 18th, 2021 as Martin Luther King Jr. Day. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand this 6th day of January 2021. As we go about our day, let's make him proud and live by his words. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. Thank you. Be safe. Wear your masks, social distance, and wash your hands. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm your District 2 Council Member and Vice Mayor Carol Hatton. Thank you for joining the Town of Davie as we reflect on the great accomplishments of civil rights leader Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. His legacy continues to inspire us to help create bright futures for all the children. Whatever you are doing today, I hope it's filled with the hope and love that Dr. King espoused. Thank you.
Hello, I am your District 1 Councilmember, Michelle Whitman. Today we take the time to remember the incredible life and work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He fought for equality and justice for all Americans. Dr. King's work, life, and legacy still has a profound impact on our communities today. When you can, take some time to reflect and remember all his life's work. We have much to thank him for.
Hi there. I'm your District 3 Councilwoman, Susan Starkey. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. served as a minister, activist, and an influential leader in the civil rights movement. At the age of 35, he was one of the youngest men to have received the Nobel Peace Prize. Dr. King is widely regarded as America's preeminent advocate for nonviolence and one of the greatest leaders in world history. Let us take today and remember the work and dedication to civil rights and equality for all.
Hello and Happy New Year. I'm Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and it gives me great pleasure to join you to celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I'm proud to be your voice in Washington, D.C., and to represent a community that embodies equality, opportunity, and justice. As leaders, we stand on the shoulders of our predecessors who were victims of hate, discrimination, and segregation, but linked arms nevertheless to confront these evils and strive to bring us to a better place. We recognize that the strength of this community and our nation is our diversity, shared values, and ability to unite in times of difficulty and despair. Among so many others, Martin Luther King Jr. exemplified these values. We've come a long way as a society in the nearly 6 decades since the March on Washington and Dr. King's historic and powerful I Have a Dream speech. But as far as we've come, too often we are reminded of just how much more work must be done. When Dr. King delivered his famous Dream speech, he described the fierce urgency of now. He reminded a very divided nation that we are stronger together. He urged us to concentrate and focus on the very real challenges faced by humanity as they are unfolding. Over half a century later, Dr. King's words are as pressing as the day he first spoke them. This is no time for apathy or complacency. We are still fighting for equal rights, affordable health care, quality education, and opportunity for all, in the midst of a health pandemic, economic upheaval, and threats to our democracy. Decades later, we still find ourselves marching in the streets just as Dr. King and civil rights heroes did, to speak out against the painful and senseless violence that continues to plague our communities. We are in the midst of a national reckoning on issues of race, inequality, and justice. And the question is, what will we do to make a difference? How will we address our community's pain? What steps will we take to make our union more perfect? One way I have tried to do that is by joining my colleagues to create the bipartisan Congressional Caucus on Black-Jewish Relations. The Black-Jewish Caucus assembles politicians from both communities, from both sides of the aisle, to learn from each other and advocate for joint concerns. The caucus raises awareness of each other's communities' needs and helps bring African American and Jewish communities together, combats stereotypes and hate, and showcases all of our rich commonalities. We know ignorance and hatred always breed violence. It is incumbent upon us to refresh the bonds between the Black and Jewish communities for a new generation who must speak out during these times of increased prejudice and discrimination. Together, we must build upon our shared history of fighting side by side for a better world. We are all partners in calling out hate, discrimination, racism, and anti-Semitism, no matter where they rear their ugly heads. It is vital that we work to honor, strengthen, and safeguard the bond our communities share in the struggle for equality in America, and continue the fight for the rights for which Dr. King sacrificed his life. Let us stand together now, working towards Dr. King's goal that all generations to come may live in an America without anti-Semitism, racism, intolerance, or hatred. Thank you so much.
This will be the day when all of God's children be able to sing with new meaning, "My country, tears of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. And if America is to be a great nation, this must become true. So let freedom ring. From the prodigious hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring. From the heightening Alleghanies of Pennsylvania, let freedom ring. From the snow-capped Rockies of Colorado, let freedom ring. From the curvaceous slopes of California. But not only that, let freedom ring from Stone Mountain of Georgia. Let freedom ring from Lookout Mountain of Tennessee. Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside. Let freedom ring, and when this happens, when we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are